Master9351 here, and welcome to an accurate depiction of the Skylanders community right now. There's people like me wandering around in the darkness, right? Wandering around. And as we do investigations, we can go, ha-ha! A light in the darkness, and through hard work, research, and really doing a lot of digging, we can say, ha-ha! There we go! There's our answer! Here we are, a light in the darkness that is the void of Skylanders news creators like me, Jap. The list goes on. Here we are, but this is what Activision wants. This. But we are here. And Activision refuses to allow us to turn the lights on as it needs to be. As you may know, Activision's Quarter 4 2017 conference call was held yesterday. And it's the biggest disappointment I have ever seen in my entire life. Not for Skylanders only, not for Spyro only, not for Crash only, but for every single franchise that Activision owns. And that press conference call, whatever it's called, it doesn't even matter what it's called, was so much of a disappointment that I honestly can't, I have a hard time articulating words to say about it. I was never expecting an announcement of a Spyro remake yesterday. I was never expecting an announcement that a new Crash game was coming in 2019. I was never expecting, them to come out and say, here's our plan for the next year. I never expected that. But they came out and they said nothing on a single franchise other than Call of Duty and Destiny 2. And that's pretty bad. Because they have so many franchises that they just straight up ignored at this event. And I feel like the fans of Skylanders, Spyro, Crash, the list goes on, are being kept in the dark about what is going on. We don't know. That's the biggest and most commonly used word that I'm going to be using in all videos related to those three topics in the coming months. We don't know. We know nothing on Spyro. We know nothing on Crash Bandicoot. We know nothing on Skylanders 7. We know a mobile game is coming for Skylanders. As far as those three franchises are concerned, we know a mobile game is coming. But we don't even know that the mobile game is coming because of Activision. We know because of Come To Us. Activision Publishing, the maker of all three of these franchises, refuses to say a thing about the future of any of those franchises. There are dedicated communities and fandoms for all three of these communities that are still present on YouTube, the rest of the internet, and it is unacceptable to keep them in the dark repeatedly, year after year after year, on what is going on. It is unacceptable. The cycle of news in the Spyro fandom, I'm going to use the Spyro fandom because they are the easiest to pick on in this situation. Every single year tries to hype up a Spyro remake. Every year for the past several years has been like, Spyro remake coming 2017, Spyro remake coming 2018, Spyro remake coming 2019. It goes on and on and on. Every single year the fandom thinks there's a new game coming the following year. And Activision never says a thing about them. And if it's going to be anything like last year, it's going to be like, okay, this event there might be Spyro news. Okay, this event there might be Spyro news. Okay, but what about this event? There might be Spyro news there. But then there's nothing! Nothing, nothing, nothing. The same thing goes for Skylanders. There's nothing at this conference. There's nothing at what? E3 maybe? There's nothing in the Toy Fair. There's nothing here. The cycle goes on. We want answers. We want this light right here. We want this metaphorical light turned on. We want the truth illuminated. We want to know, are we getting Skylanders? Are we getting Spyro? Are we getting Crash Bandicoot? We want answers. The entirety of this press conference, or conference call, or whatever you want to call it, was spent discussing monetary stuff. And I get it. It's an investors conference. It's not meant for the fans. But if I was an investor, I wouldn't be investing in your company right now, because what you're telling me, just listening to this conference is like, yeah, we got a Call of Duty game coming, and yeah, people are unhappy with how Destiny 2's going, but we have plans, way nebulous in the future to fix them. We know people, want Call of Duty to succeed. We're changing things up. We're having a new game at the end of the year, and we got some other stuff planned for the end of the year, and yeah, I would be like, what are your plans for the end of the year? What do you want to do? Where are you going with this? If I was an investor, I would be saying, Activision is making crap up to try to get us to buy into their franchise. It's like they're not giving answers to the players. They're not giving answers to the communities. They're not giving answers to the investors. They're saying, we have plans down the road. I'm trying to make sense of this. I'm trying to make sense of this. And maybe my 17-year-old mind is not enough to comprehend the advanced business dealings of Activision. Maybe I'm just a stupid teenager with a camera that doesn't understand finances at all. But I feel like these communities, these Skylanders, Spyro, Crash fandoms that are being kept in the dark aren't helping you. They're not hurting you per se, but they're not helping you. And there's rumors that have been doubly confirmed that Crash is getting a new game in 2019 and ports in 2018, and you won't even say anything about that. And I can't understand the logic behind keeping players in the dark. I understand that you don't want to start hyping things up too early. I mean, if Crash really isn't coming until the end of 2019, then there's no reason to announce it in February. But there's also no reason to not say, we're planning on continuing to support these franchises. There's no reason to not do that. But what gets me the most is the Skylanders mobile game that you wouldn't even come out and confirm directly in your press conference. An investor literally asked, what are your plans on mobile? They didn't ask a question specifically about Skylanders, but he said, what is Activision Blizzard King's plan on mobile? And they said, King's got some releases, and we're gonna do some other stuff some point in the future. They didn't come out and say, we're making a Skylanders game for the end of 2018, even though that was already mentioned multiple times before and was released in the Come To Us press release for their similar conference. I don't understand why they can't come out and say, here are our plans. Here are your answers. Here is the light in the darkness. Here is the truth illuminated. They refuse to do that for all of these franchises. They refuse. And they're doing the same thing for Destiny. I understand that I may have some Spyro and Crash fans, but maybe you care about Destiny too. They're doing the same thing with this. They are taking what was a good game and they are running it into the ground with every DLC they release. And they say that they're trying to fix the problem, but they're not fixing the problem. They say they have answers. They say they have solutions, but they don't. Or maybe they do, but they haven't proven it yet. And if I like Destiny, I haven't bought the expansion yet. I'm still trying to work my way through it. But if I was a hardcore fan of Destiny, I would say, I'm not buying any of this. No. Be gone, EA. Be gone. Because that is the level of they're approaching it. I understand that they're not as bad about DLC and stuff as EA, but when it comes to Destiny, the ethics that they are using in games like Destiny are pretty bad. And I understand that this is a channel, and I want to eventually get, news from Activision and stuff like this, and probably coming out and saying all this stuff is probably not helping that case. But I can't sit here and say the conference call was the best thing ever when in reality it just further frustrated the fans of all of these franchises. Maybe if you're a Call of Duty fan, you're happy now that you get to know that Call of Duty was not in fact delayed until 2019, but it's not helping any of these communities. They're suffering, you know, by not getting these answers. And when there are answers, they're nebulous. And I've said multiple times that the level of transparency that Skylanders, you know, has had in its development has been unacceptable, and there's been like no transparency at all. And I've said that that has frustrated me many, many times, and that they need to fix that. And it's starting to show that that's how they treat all of their franchises now. And this conference call really proved that to me. They have not answered any of our questions, and all of these fandoms are going to be left swimming in a nebulous cloud of ideas for another year. If you want us to promote your games, if you want people to keep being interested in your games, you've got to give answers. You've got to give us a reason to hold on hope. Many people in the Skylanders community, and I assume other communities as well. I'm most closely familiar with the Skylanders community, of course, but I imagine that the same thing is happening in the Spyro community too. People are leaving because people are starting to realize that they're not going to get answers for a long time. People have messaged me saying, Portal Master, I'm not going to be in the Skylanders community anymore because there's just not enough news to keep going. There's not enough things to get hyped about. There's not enough things to cover. And while I disagree, and I do think that there are still things that you can get hyped about, like the mobile game, you know, it's not easy to come and make content that is exciting and is going to get viewed by people if there's no news. If you want to continue to get this community to stick around and continue to make content, you've got to give us something to work with. And I'm not saying that the Activision needs to come out and say, here's every answer for every question you have, but they need to give us something to keep going. Maybe say, no Skylanders game this year, or there's going to be a Skylanders game this year. That's all we need. Skylanders is not a game that, you know, like, if there's not a Skylanders game, they should have said that. And this is what really gets me, is every other time that there has or has not been a Skylanders game, they've said there's going to be a Skylanders game this year, or like last year, there's not going to be a Skylanders game this year. And they said nothing about it the whole time. They said nothing about any of their other franchises. They said Crash sold well. That's all they said for Crash. And I don't know really how much more I can go into this without repeating myself and trying to yell and stuff like that. So I'm probably just going to cut myself off here, but I'll say it one more time. If Activision wants to get people to stick around, continue to make great content, and continue to do and fanboy about over these awesome and amazing game franchises that they have built, we need answers. We need that light to show us the truth. Anyways, guys, that's all I have for you guys today. This has been Portal Master 9351. Thank you for tuning into this rant. Please tell me what you think about this down in the comments. Do you agree? Have I lost my mind? Tell me what you guys think. Anyways, all I have for you guys today. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.